Ayo, we made this. Ammo 7 did it again.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Big Ego Media. We've got two special guests today, go by the name of Zack and Jules. Right?
Yeah.
And you guys are representing today. Tell us.
We're here representing LiFe After Prison podcast from National Prison Radio and the Prison Radio Association.
Okay, what's that about? Tell us.
All right, cool. So LiFe After Prison is a podcast created for people coming out of prison. It consists of two podcasts. One is called Getting Out. Getting Out's about sharing information, advice and guidance for people who are getting out of prison. Because you know sometimes you can come out of prison and not know where to go when you need that kind of support. So we cover things like housing, finances, health, mental health, and like confidence, you know, so help signposting, speaking with people from these organizations that are the experts and that are on the ground that offer these services. And then we've got the other podcast, which is the flagship one called The Sit Down. I think Jules will tell you about that one.
So we've got another one, it's The Sit Down. This is going to be a different kind of podcast. So we have guests from all walks of life coming in on the podcast to share their experience, their journey, their relationship to the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
They might not have been in prison. Majority probably will have done or have. But, you know, they might have known someone or a family member or somebody that's been inside and been through their own struggle or journey with the criminal justice system. And they share that with us and tell us their struggles, their wins and stuff like that, you know, what they found hard. And
So when's it all launching?
So the Life After Prison podcast is coming out October 13th.
Yeah, very soon.
We're going to have a few episodes of Getting Out coming out, which has got the information, advice and guidance that will come out in one block. And then the Sit Down will be released weekly episodes. And that's the flagship show. That's the show where we can really connect with our guests. You know, we've got great guests such as Bobby. Bobby came on himself, you know, sharing their stories, their journeys of life after prison. And I feel like we've got a really good message that we're putting out there in terms of how people are rebuilding their lives and the organizations that can support with that transition.
And how did you guys get involved with it?
Do you want to go first, Jules?
Yeah, okay, cool. So I got involved with the podcast because I did little bits of work with National Prison Radio when I had just been released from prison. I got into fitness when I was in prison and I started doing little bits like workouts for the guys inside. Little bits, just little snippets of, you know, get up and try this out in your cell. And it kind of stemmed from there. So after I'd done a few of those, over like a couple years, this came up and our boss now, but he told me to go for the role. So we did. It was an interview process, and then met Zack, and we both got the podcast role.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So similar to Jules, you know, cause you've been to prison, like, you know, there's like certain avenues that are open to you where we've got that experience, and that experience comes in handy, you know. PRA, the Prison Radio Association, they're really good on, you know, utilizing people who've got that lived experience. So when I heard that the role came up, one of my boys actually was like, bro, there's this podcast presenter role, apply for it. You'd be good because you're doing your own podcast anyway, jump on it. Saw what the brief was and I was like, cool, I went for it and we're here today, you know.
And how long did you guys both kind of do in prison? How long were your sentences?
Yeah, you want to go? Or?
Can I just ask you where I'm supposed to look?
Oh, straight in there.
Thanks, because I have no idea. I'm literally looking at like...
I'm looking there.
Okay, cool.
That's a good outtake. Oh, that's funny.
What did you say? What was the question?
How long did you guys both do in your sentences?
Okay, so my sentence was 5 years. I spent 2.5 years inside in 4 different prisons. And I got into fitness kind of straight away, just because I couldn't stand being in that cell for so long. So yeah, I've forgotten the question again.
How long did you do?
I mean, you've answered it.
Thank you.
For me, I've been in prison 3 times, Bobby. So, first time I got a 7. Second time was 6, and then the last time was 4.5. All for drug and robbery offences. So in total, I've served like just under 9 years behind the door.
What is it about this time that kind of made you say, you know what, that's enough?
All right, you know the pain of being behind the door and how life just breezes you by. Like, Bob, I know you done Bird, right? So you know how it goes. You go in, it's a whole nother world, it's a whole nother way of living, and it's long. Man's mature now, can't be putting myself at risk. Got bigger plans and bigger hopes than being, back and forth in and out of prison. So. Yeah, it's just, and to be fair with you, it's just a conscious decision that I made. I was like, I'm done with this lifestyle. It's long. Getting older, it's a young boy's game, innit?
I mean, as I've said, that this camera seems to have given up on me. So cool, we can just focus on this one for now.
That's cool, man.
So, as for yourself, Jules, what would you say was the hardest thing about being in prison?
Not being with my family and my friends. Probably, definitely the hardest. I've got a close family, so I've got 3 sisters, and my family mean a lot to me. So them and my friends, not being with them and not being around them, not doing certain things, missing out on certain things. So probably the hardest.
And Zach, for yourself, what was the hardest thing about being inside?
Alright, so watch this, Bobby, yeah? On visits when your people come to see you, yeah? And remember, you've got a picture. The picture don't age. But then you see them come in, and like, if they were a young person, they're older, they're taller now. Or if they're like your parent, you can see that the age difference, So I see my mum one time, I didn't see her for a couple of years, and then I seen her and I'm like, wow, mum's kind of aged,
You can tell that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because we're stuck in the pickle juice. We're not like stuck in a time warp. So the time you got sentenced or entered prison, that's the age or that's the time zone that your life's in. So the hardest thing for me was that you're seeing your people grow, age, losing family members. I lost my cousin once I was in prison. So that's the hardest thing. Other than that, bro, you know how it is, man. We adapt.
Yeah. And what is it about working on this kind of project that's kind of inspired you and motivated you?
You want me to go? I've been chatting bears.
I don't mind. So inspiration for the project is because, like as Zach said at the start, I think you said building that community for people that have been inside or that have had somebody been inside. They're like, when I got out, I struggled with certain things, just being able to relate to people, and a lot of things I just kept inside, and I just didn't know who to speak to or how to speak about it. And for me, that was quite a suffocating feeling of just not being able to relate, and not wanting to talk about it. So I didn't. And even the people like your family, I'd want to be able to just speak about it freely with them because they're my closest people. But even that didn't feel right. Didn't feel normal. So, basically being able to help anybody out there that does feel like that. And I think to how my mum must feel or must have felt, and I don't think about it a lot, but I know my mum did struggle and my family did, but probably especially my mum. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think she wouldn't have spoken to anyone about it, apart from like defend me. And I think for people like my mum could really do with being able to speak to somebody else in the same position. So pretty much why I would want to get people talking about it and sharing their thoughts and their feelings. That. Thank you very much.
And for yourself, Zach?
Beat it.
No, I can't. No, so for me, I've been working with young people since I came out of prison. So Because I just, you know how it is, Bobby, man. Like, we have to let these young people know what they're really getting into if they want to go down that pathway. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not easy and it's not ideal. So, like, my thing is to really try and I don't want to preach, but I just want, like, if you really want to go on the roads and do what you need to do, okay, expect X, Y, and Z. But if you don't, you can do something. Or if you've already gone to prison, there's a different way that you can maneuver in this world, and there's a different way that you can go along your journey of life. Do you know what I'm saying? Not everyone's got the same path, but you could be doing something better than wasting your time in prison. So with being involved in this project, my personal aim is to really support as many people as possible who come out of prison that they necessarily don't want to go back, but don't really know where they can go or how they can go about their life away from crime. And I feel like this platform, or what we're creating, is going to showcase individuals like yourself, Bobby, and others who have navigated that, and hopefully inspire others to do the same.
I think it's a massive thing on that, because you know, you can do something with it inside, or if you get out, it's never too late. But yeah, to not think that that's it, or I'm inside and all right, I'm doing nothing, and you know, using the time and doing good and doing things that you want to do, and for people to have a bit more self-belief in that if you don't. So yeah.
No, 100.
What was the hardest thing about being released from prison? Because everyone looks for that day, I'm getting out, but once you're out, reality kind of hits you, because you got that comfort blanket of being in prison, and when you're outside, things change.
Yeah. But I don't know. Did you get DCAT when you come out, Bobby? Or
yeah.
Okay,
my last 6 months.
All right, cool. Did that help you?
I would say yes.
Yeah, cool. So now, imagine doing, like, my first bird, I was 17, and then I came out 21, yeah? So I did 4 years, basically, like 4 years, 4 summers. I didn't know what going. When I come out, the world hit me like a big slap, bow, real reality check. Like, the people that didn't have money before have got money. Like, I'm now the broke guy, starting again. It was all mad. It was all a flip. Society's moved on. So the hardest thing was adjusting and thinking that I had to catch up. So I'm thinking, bro, I've got to chase all these guys that in these last few years, they've superseded where I was. And I'm like, nah, I'm trying to get back to where I was. So I was trying to catch up. And I think that was where I went wrong. I didn't have the patience to understand that, look, I've just been out of the world or reality for 4 years. Take your time and slowly build. The hardest thing was, to answer the question, I'm rambling a bit, is how to rebuild your life, the steps that you need to take. Like, I was rushing when really and truly I should have set foundation. Okay, sort out your housing. Once your housing sorted, sort out how you're going to make your income. Do you know what I'm saying? Sort out whether you're going to get a job or apprenticeship or use a skill that you learn to get. Do you know what I mean? And not to watch people, because, you know, I'm seeing the newest cars and bikes and clothes, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I want, but I'm not at that stage to achieve it, where this person or X, Y, and Z has been out for so long doing what they're doing. So I thought, I need to keep up. I need to catch up. And then as a young man, you're dealing with peer pressure as well. So I know there's bare youths coming out of prison, yeah, fresh home. And then their boys got Rolly. You know, he's in the brand new coupe, like the latest drip, and they're thinking, rah, this is what they need to go for. So it adds pressure. And then that pressure makes you go and do things you necessarily may not want to do to get there. So it was navigating that and understanding that I'm in my own lane and have to be at my own pace and not watch no one. That was the difficult bit for me, you know. But when that comes with maturity, so now coming out, going for DCAT, you enter into the real world every so often. So that makes it a little bit easier. Like, okay, this is what life's like. All right, let me start tapping with my phone. You know what I'm saying? This is how it goes. Okay, this is what the drip is. It's skinny jeans now. Okay, everyone's doing the skinny jeans thing, and okay, this is fashion now, and this is how people are conducting themselves and whatnot. So having that little introduction, little taster of what society is like, made it much easier when I come out. I was like, okay, I can slip through this nice. I know where my space is, what I'm not on, what I like to do, and this is how I can do it. So that was a blessing for me going through DCAT. I waffled a bit.
No, you didn't. It's good, Zach. It's good. It's truth.
Yeah.
Hardest for me. So, elements of what Zach said. So, feeling like you had to play catch up. People are doing certain things and moving on, and I felt like I've got like zero money behind me. Like, I don't know, just feeling like you had to play catch up, not really up to speed with what's going on outside, with latest things and how to do things. But you know what? More so, being around people, I found quite hard.
True.
Around a lot of people, I didn't really want to. I was kind of, I'm gonna say lucky, but not lucky. But when I got out, it was locked down pretty much straight away, and that was quite satisfying for me because I didn't actually want to be around loads of people, and I was with my family a lot more. But feeling like you just didn't want to be around, and then you're like, how do I escape and how do I get out? And
Was it
I can't explain it. Yeah, too overwhelming no matter where I was. And then when people were speaking to me, I didn't want to communicate, but I didn't know how to do that without looking rude or being mean or being on my own.
I know what you mean.
So that was hard. And even around my family, we're all quite a lot. So just being able to be on my own but be around people was hard. I didn't really know how to separate, how to manage that. And I'm still working on it, to be fair. But probably that, yeah. Busyness.
So in regards to the podcast, who is kind of your target audience? Who are you guys trying to reach?
Hey, that's a good question, man.
Anyone who has been inside prison, or anybody that has been affected by the criminal justice system in any way. That's our main target audience.
Yeah, but also adding on to that, I had my mum on the show last week. My mum come and did a recording to explain what it was like for her as a parent having two sons in prison at the same time and things like that. So I feel like we can also connect with, we're hoping, families as well of people that have been in prison, friends as well. Because we can talk about prison, Bobby, because we know about prison. But if you're speaking to someone else, they're not going to understand. And more often than not, they don't really want to chat about it unless they're proper fascinated. So, this is to open that world up for people who have had family members or friends in prison and necessarily don't understand what they went through or what they're going through in rebuilding their life. It gives them that kind of ability to see into it and be part of that community as well. So then
and
they can have...
to relate to somebody about it, because they're going through their own struggle.
Yeah.
And they deserve that as well. They deserve it.
Yeah.
Is there also kind of scope to extend it to having people like probation officers, police officers, prison officers on the show as well?
I would love it. I would love it.
Don't get him excited.
Trust me, no, I'm on that. Have you had any probation? Have you spoken to any
probation? And was lining something up soon. We done the prison officer who was sacked recently.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, we do. I think it would be. It would be really interesting.
100%.
Needed.
We had a meeting with probation today because we're doing a conference with them next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a conference with them. We got a 15-minute slot where we're going to explain about the podcast. And then the woman who's the comms lead was like, okay, so do you have anything you want to ask us? I was like, we need the head of probation.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, we need the head of probation or someone to come on and speak to the people and let's really get down what you guys are trying to achieve and make them understand our perspective as well.
There are barriers, do you know what I mean? And
Facts.
when you, barriers between, certain people, and because there's no communication or maybe, there's just not a good understanding, and if you can even, just bridge some gaps, say somebody hates probation, that's it, done, hate probation, but, they're not maybe being more open-minded on both parties, you can find a great probation, and then... suddenly your life is...
It's hit and miss sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, suddenly your life is on a roll because just because of a little change of mindset from either party.
Facts.
So, yeah, it could really work.
What do you feel about police though, Bobby? Because I'm not sure. Me being perfectly honest, I don't think I can interview police.
I mean, we're looking to line up with the police for Big Ego Music because, like I said, it's all about communication, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times for me personally, it's we kind of persecute the police and say you guys are bad people. End of the day, we've been the criminals, right? So they've got a job to do. So we can hate them for whatever reason. But it's like if our house gets burgled, more times, or something happens to your mum, more times you're gonna be calling the police.
That's a fact.
And when they're not finding the young killers, you guys go and do your job. All these kids are killing each other. So for me, you need that conversation with all parts of society.
It's a massive
discussion.
But it's a massive thing anyway. Yeah. But like, if nobody puts little steps in place or like whatever, things will never change.
I'm not saying I'm totally against it. I'm saying I feel a type of way because
me too,
only because not because of crime, you know. Like obviously I get it, cops and robbers. We know what the deal was, innit? Yeah. But I mean, in terms of my personal experiences, when I'm not, let's say, committing crime with police, you know what I'm saying, getting stopped by police. Getting your car pulled, all of those kind of experiences. I'm just like, boy, because I can bring that up.
Depends on what the topic is.
But I can bring that up, and then they'll be like, oh, well, that's subjective because it's my thing. No problems. But then I've got experiences that many other people have as well. So, and then they'll probably push a narrative like, watch this. So, watch this. I know I'm going on about it, but there was someone that I was speaking to. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I was at some networking event, and they were talking about someone who was working on police and their relationship with the community. They're saying we need to build a better relationship, and they're saying, okay, cool, but you guys need this kind of training. And the guy was like, no, we want you to come and do this. And he's like, no, hold on, you need this to better your organization. And they were against it, like what he was suggesting. And he was like, I can't do it. I'm gonna walk away because like this is what I think you need, and that's my expertise you hired me for, but you don't want me to do that. Cool. So I feel like if we're going to have a discussion, we can talk, Bobby, but then what is the action points coming from it, or what's the manifest from that conversation to better those relationships? That's what I mean, you know what I mean?
And where do you guys want to see the podcast go, like in a few years' time?
It's a good question. It's new. It's something that hasn't, we haven't done this before, so... at the moment, things are going well. So speaking to more people to come on the podcast, more guests, different stories, different experiences, and keep going with it. So like things like probation and people in those roles weren't really in the picture at the start, but now they could be. So kind of just seeing where it goes, and seeing what people think about it and their reaction, like seeing who they want to see, and hearing their thoughts and their feelings about the podcast, because that's the main thing that matters the most.
100%.
If people are relating to it, and if it's helping anybody,
connecting with people,
yeah,
right? And just wherever it goes, like that somewhere everywhere in the country someone can relate to it and be like, you know what, I get it.
You just
They're
never
not alone.
know either, like who has been inside. Like I get it a lot. Well, I haven't really spoken about having gone to prison. I've been out for nearly 3 years, or I've forgotten nearly 3 years, and only in the last 6 months did I speak about actually being in prison. And when I tell people now, they are shocked. Like,
I was shocked.
So shocked. Everybody. Okay, most people are. I'd like to think, but yeah, most people are shocked. So you just never know who is struggling with something, or who has been in prison or whatever. So you don't know who's out there. It could help. So that's a nice thing.
100%.
And you guys finally send the launch is on the 13th. Is that and you got a launch event as well happening?
Yeah, we've got the launch event on the 20th.
On the 20th of October.
You got to be down for that, Bobby. We need you there.
I've said I'll try to get there as soon as I finish training. I think it's on a Thursday that I saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
But where can we find the actual show? Where can people see it?
So they can get it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast, you'll be able to find it on there. Just got to search Life After Prison, and we're on socials at After Prison Pod, and that's Instagram and Twitter. But we've got email address. If people want to email, they can email us at podcast@prison.radio if they want to get in touch with us as well. So yeah, that's where you can find us.
Any last words?
Any last words, Jules?
Put me on the spot. Thank you, Bobby, for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah,
Check us out.
Yes.
And we hope that you guys like what we're doing.
And when you do, let us know thoughts.
Yeah, 100%.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sweet, my bro.